Greetings and welcome to part 3 of the video walkthrough for the Mr. Robot CTF. So in our last video walkthrough in part 2, you saw how we went about capturing the key 2 of 3, and we now have one more key to go. So now we have key 2 of 3, we need to go ahead and get on with the business of finding key 3 of 3. And we're going to start off by getting into the root directory of the robot account. We're going to do this by typing in cd // That puts us into the very root of the robot account. Now we can type in ls, and we can now see the contents of what is available to us up inside of the root directory or the home directory of the robot account. Now there's not much of interest inside of this home directory of the robot account except for the root. That's the only thing we should be interested in. Everything else looks pretty normal. If we try to get into the root directory by typing in cd root, let's see what happens. It says that permissions are denied. So even though we're logged on as the robot account or the robot user, we don't have root permission. So let's go ahead and see what's going on here with the permission. So we're going to type in ls -ALH, all lowercase. And that's going to give us the permissions for everything that's listed inside of this home directory for the robot account. Inside of this home directory for the robot user, we can do a find, or we can use the find command to look and see if there is actually a text file available based on what we know about the formatting of the name of the previous 2 keys. So we can do a search or a find for a text file using the name key-3-of-3.txt and see if that exists. And it says permission is denied, so we don't even have permissions to look inside of the home directory. So you see everything inside of here on this home directory is being kicked back for permissions being denied. What we have to do at this point is get an account with root access and with the octal permissions of 4000. So let's see how we go about doing that. So again, using the find command, I'm looking for a program or something that has the permissions set to 4000 or root access, I should say, that's going to allow me to get in and run as the root. So let's see if there's anything available. So we're looking through everything. We're looking for a program that has a root access that's going to allow us to run interactively with that program and give us the root permissions that we need to be able to access that root folder. So let's see if we find anything in here. Now the only thing of interest that we see is this nmap. Now nmap in the past has had the option that allowed the user to run interactively with it. And we're now going to check to see if we can use nmap to gain access to the root folder with the root permissions. We know that nmap has to have root access, root permissions to be able to run on the system. So if we do an nmap --help, we can also see if this version will allow us to operate interactively with nmap while it runs at the root level. Let's take a look at this. And we see we have this option down here. So the older versions of nmap did allow the user to operate interactively with nmap while it was running. So we see that the switch to use with the nmap command is the -- interactive. And if I type this in at the prompt and I hit enter, it comes back up and it says welcome to interactive mode. Now you can type in H and you can get some information about what's going on with the interactive mode running with nmap. What we're interested in is having a shell with root permissions. Now to get this, all I have to type in is the exclamation mark plus sh, and I should get a shell, and then we can do a who am I, and we can see what kind of access we have. And I am root. So now we should be able to get access to that root folder that belongs to that Mr. Robot account. So the next thing I want to do is just change directories on over to the root directory where we were previously denied. And now we are given that wonderful access. Pretty cool. Now the next thing we got to do is see if our key is actually listed or part of this root directory. And I see that it is. We have a couple of items in here, but one of the keys that we're missing, key number 3 of 3, is present. So we now have key 3 of 3. To see what that hash is that belongs to key 3 of 3, again, we're just going to cat the contents of this text file to our terminal, and we are given the hash for key 3. Again, we can now save the contents of this key to our Mr. Robot folder, and we have completed our first CTF. So this is going to conclude the exercise for our first capture the flag, the Mr. Robot CTF. And all I can say is wow, because doing this CTF exercise is just a great way to hone your skills. And regardless of the outcome, you will leave as a better pen tester or a hacker. Now my research showed that there were more than one way to execute a lot of these exploitations that we use. We didn't have to use the Python. We didn't have to use a lot of these different tools. We could have used Metasploitable, but because of the different in the versions that were used in the walkthroughs and what we have actually installed onto the Kali operating system, a lot of the different ways that were used didn't work. And so I went back and I found the surefire ways that would always work, and that was using the Python script and the burp suite and the other tools that we used to accomplish this capture the flag moment. That concludes this 3-part video presentation on how we go about completing the CTF for Mr. Robot. Now, if you have any questions or you have any concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out and contact your instructor, and I'll see you in our next CTF.